Welcome back to Hermetically Speaking with your vessel, Toria, transmitting alchemy and mystic psychology for all of our days. Here, we explore the sacred, the shadow, and the spiral path of awakening, so you can remember who you are beneath the programming and rebuild yourself from the inside out. And as always, go back to episode 1 for my disclaimers on mystic psychology and the fact that I am not a medical professional and everything I speak on is through experience and an energetic standpoint rooted in ancient wisdom and alchemy. God, I just love hermetics. And without further ado, let's open the transmission for today's episode. So many of us don't realize we've built our identity around what we've survived, or just how intertwined our identity has become within it. This journey we are on, it is both infinite and finite. Finite in the sense that this particular embodiment, this exact chapter, will one day dissolve. And infinite because the evolution does not stop. Not here, not now, not ever. Our healing is infinite in this way. Not something to complete. It's something to tend to, like a sacred garden of psyche and soul. And funny we should bring those two words into play because etymology indicates that psyche and soul are one and the same. And the same is true for our identities. The parts of us shaped by pain, by protection, by pattern, they aren't bad or broken. They were woven by necessity. And now we are ready to weave anew. This isn't to shame the journey or make it feel daunting. This is a call, a whisper, to awaken the part of you that knows. That knows the web of your psyche is not fixed. It is soft, malleable, ready to be unraveled by your conscious awareness and rewoven through a higher vibration. And when we begin this sacred unweaving, we don't lose ourselves. We meet ourselves. Not the self born of trauma, but the one born of truth. The pain became a blueprint. The shadow became our shell. And when we begin to heal, something unexpected happens. We grieve the self we constructed to protect us. Because that pain really did become our programming, our operating system. It became the way we navigated the world, the way we anticipated harm, and the way we tried to avoid it. And as we awaken, those blueprints begin to reveal themselves. The code starts to unravel. And while that unraveling is sacred, it is also tender. Each step forward peels back a layer. Each layer a blessing of freedom, inching us closer to a life we consciously create. A life rooted in love. A life that mirrors the moment we finally realize I know what it means to love myself. The shadow no longer has to serve as our cocoon. It no longer needs to shield us from judgment, projection, or the crumbling paradigms we once bent ourselves to fit. Now that we are healing, a new journey begins. One that many don't expect. One that stares us directly in the face and asks us to grieve. We grieve the programs. We grieve the personas. We grieve the patterns and protections and pieces of self we outgrew. We grieve the version of us who got us through. And this is normal. This is necessary. Because that version of us, they served us. They saved us. And to deny them would be to deny the bridge that brought us here to this moment. And every moment of conscious awareness that we are gifted to experience. A gift to ourselves for walking the journey of survival. Acceptance is what transmutes the grief. Radically accepting that the person we were, and parts of us still are, with all their survival strategies, messiness, masks, and coping tools, was doing the very best they could. Making the best decisions at the time with the information that they had. Accepting this. That is what brings us into harmony with ourselves. Not fighting the old, not erasing it, but embracing it as sacred. No matter how far-fetched, dysfunctional, or difficult it all may seem in hindsight, when we meet those truths with compassion, we liberate them. And in doing so, we liberate ourselves. Grief is not a detour. It's a sacred subsection of the alchemical process. A spiral within the spiral. You cannot bypass it, and you wouldn't want to, because you will miss so much magic. Because grief, when fully felt, becomes the gold of transmutation. It teaches us to feel without fear, to release without shame, and to rebuild without the weight of what once was. Survival is sacred. It's a spell that kept us breathing. It's a vow we made to life when everything around us said, don't. And we don't speak of that sacredness enough. In Hermetic alchemy, survival is the first phase of calcination. The burning away of illusions, distortions, identities that were handed to us. It's fire, pure and wild. It scorches everything that is not truly ours. But it doesn't sculpt us. It prepares us for sculpting. Survival is the alchemist's path before they ever know they are an alchemist. And yet, we're so often in a rush to escape it. We shame it. We resist it. We call it dysfunction. We try to heal out of it overnight, as if it's something to be exiled rather than understood. The truth is, survival mode was a sacred teacher. And when we truly alchemize it, we don't just leave it behind. We honor it. Because even as it fades, it continues with us in new form. The vigilance becomes discernment. The urgency becomes presence. The control becomes trust. And the survival becomes sovereignty. It transforms into kindness, into self-love, grace, boundaries, into integrity. We carry it forward as wisdom, not as a wound. To rush out of survival is to miss the gold inside. And this is why the sacred rebuild is not just about who we become. It's about honoring how we got here. So let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it for a few seconds. And exhale gently out the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let the body know we are safe. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are in the sacred space between versions of self, where the past no longer defines you and the future is being shaped by your awareness in this very moment. If grief is here, let it speak. If uncertainty is here, let it breathe. You are not doing this journey wrong. This is what healing feels like. This is the sacred rebuild, where nothing is rushed and everything is honored. Take one more deep breath, and when you are ready, we'll begin the next part of our journey. So what happens when the pain dissolves? What happens when the shadows step back? What happens when the identity we built for protection no longer fits? For many of us, a deep fear creeps in, not of the past, but of who we will become without it. Because whether we admit it or not, we knew ourselves in the pain, even if it was dysfunctional, even if it was heavy. It gave us an identity. It gave us edges. It told us who we were, even if that who was rooted in trauma, survival, or someone else's expectations. And I know this firsthand. Lately, if I'm honest, I've been asking myself why I don't feel as confident now as I did when I was in survival mode. Because back then, I made decisions with certainty. I didn't second guess myself. I didn't spiral into doubt or split my energy into 4 versions of overthinking. I knew who I was. I knew what I had to do. I moved with clarity, sometimes blind clarity. Clarity nonetheless. And now I find myself in this liminal space, questioning everything. I've asked myself over and over, why can't I make decisions with the same confidence I once did? Why can't I go after what I want with that same vigor, that same fire? Because while that version of me was surviving, she was also strong. She was sturdy. She was reliable. She was the backbone that got me here. And this new version of me, the one I'm still becoming, she's softer. She's searching. She's shedding her armor and learning how to walk without it. And truthfully, I don't always enjoy it. Sometimes it feels unstable. Sometimes I miss the reliability of my old edges. Sometimes I miss the illusion of control that survival gave me. And even naming that, scripting it here, brings up a sadness that deserves to be honored. Because this is the grief that I'm talking about. This sadness that is rising up within me right now, and maybe you too, is the grief that brings us to remembrance. This is what it looks like to be mid-transformation, to feel the old fall away before the new has fully arrived. And the only way through is through. I honor this version of me, the one who feels unsure, the one who is relearning that strength feels like when it's not rooted in urgency, the one who is becoming slowly, in real time, moment by moment. If I'm not my pain, who am I? This is when we release grief. We are releasing the pain. And those moments, this is the void moment. The ego losing its armor, its roles, its routines, fears it will disappear entirely. And that fear is valid because the ego will dissolve. That is part of the process. That is the price of peace. The ego dissolves into being my friend, is how I look at it personally. I befriend my ego, and my ego joins the journey with me. So what rises in its place is the soul. Not the soul you were taught to seek, not the idea of enlightenment wrapped in perfection or performance. It's the soul that remembers itself through fire, through grief, through acceptance, denial, sadness, through letting go. This is the spiritual death before rebirth. It is not glamorous. It is not easy. It is sacred. In mystic psychology, this is where many feel disoriented, numb, disconnected, or panicked. You begin to crave what you swore you were done with. You want to cling to the chaos because at least it was familiar. At least it gave you an identity. And this is when many relapses or even speed bumps happen. Not just into substances, into patterns, into roles, into people and paradigms that feel safer than sovereignty. Because sovereignty requires you to be self-led. It requires trust. It requires surrendering what was for what could be, even when you can't see it yet. And that takes a kind of courage that can only be born in the void. What if peace itself chose to become chaos? What if your soul, your divinity, your infinite nature willingly fragmented into the fires of survival, into the entanglement of trauma and illusion, not because you were broken, but because you were becoming? Because even peace seeks to know itself. And chaos, though painful, is one of peace's greatest mirrors. It shows us what matters. It breaks the false so the true can rise. It gives us form so we can remember we are formless. And when peace finds its way back, when you rebuild, not from safety, but from soul, you are no longer just peaceful. You are powerfully whole. You've earned your sovereignty, remembered it, embodied it, not because you escaped the pain, because you alchemized it. You remembered who you are without the pain. And because of it, the phoenix must die to be reborn. not because it was weak, but because it had reached its alchemical peak. The serpent sheds not because the old skin was wrong, but because expansion demanded it. The sacred rebuild doesn't come from logic. It comes from soul. It doesn't come from spreadsheets, timelines, or someone else's formula. It comes from silence, from sensation, from the inner voice that speaks in colors, symbols, body aches, and sudden knowing. You begin listening, not just with your ears, with your entire being. You listen to what your body needs: rest, movement, nourishment, stillness. You listen to what your spirit needs: expression, expansion, simplicity, truth. You listen to what your essence longs for. Not validation, but alignment. Divine identity is who you were before you were taught to survive, before the masks, the roles, the ancestral burdens, before the world told you to shrink, shapeshift, or shut down. And sovereignty is the reclamation of that identity. It is unbought, unbothered, unbeholden to others' projections. It does not scream for proof, it simply is. This is the moment of coagulation in the alchemical process, the final phase, where all the dissolving, burning, grieving, and unraveling finally give way to fusion. Self with source, soul with structure, form with essence. You are not a product of your pain. You are the phoenix that flew from its ashes with gold in its feathers, not despite the fire, but because of it. You are the serpent mid-shed, raw, sensitive, and so ready for what's next. Not hiding, not coiled in defense, moving forward, illuminated by the wisdom in your skin. When the pain dissolves, when the shadows soften, and when the grief has sung its holy song, something sacred stirs. Not in thunder, not in fireworks. It's in the quiet hum of remembrance. You begin to remember who you were before the pain. And even more powerfully, you begin to remember who you are now because of it. This is the moment of sovereign return. The space where identity is no longer built from programming, but from presence. No longer shaped by who others needed you to be, but by who your soul has always known you are. And now the rebuild begins. You are the architect, the sacred geometer, the divine designer of your reality. Your thoughts are not just thoughts. They are your pencil, carving intention into ether. Your choices are your ruler, drawing the lines of alignment. Your breath is your compass, bringing you back to center and indicating what direction you shall go next. Your emotions are the ink, revealing your frequency and filling your design with color and truth. And your body, it is the blueprint, the living scroll that records the vibration of your becoming. You stand at the drafting table of your life, not as a victim, but as a visionary. You sketch not from survival, but from soul. You lay golden lines of discernment, draw curves of compassion, build pillars of integrity, and etch windows wide enough for source to shine through. This is the temple you are building. This is the you that was always there, beneath the rubble, waiting. Sovereignty does not mean isolation. It means inner authority. It means saying, I choose, instead of I react. It means leading yourself gently but firmly into who you came here to be. You no longer need to be rescued because you've realized you are your own resurrection. And so we return not to where we began, but to the version of ourselves that was waiting beyond the fire. Not the ashes, not the ache, the alchemy. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late to become everything your soul remembered before this body forgot. You are a spiral in motion, a mystery unfolding, a living, breathing manuscript of divine design. So, breathe deeper now, into your blueprint, into your becoming, into your sacred rebuild. Not the one the world understands, but the one your soul always did. You are not here to recover who you were. You are here to reclaim who you have always been. Earth, fire, water, air, ether. The elements within you have remembered their names. It is time to rise, whole, holy, and home. As this episode comes to a close, take a moment to speak these words aloud or write it into being. I am no longer shaped by survival. I am sculpted by soul. I trust the me that is rising. I honor the me that protected. And I now choose with grace, with clarity, and with the full knowing of who I am to become the architect of my next chapter. And we will repeat this 2 more times to marry the divine within us. I am no longer shaped by survival. I am sculpted by soul. I trust the me that is rising. I honor the me that protected. And I now choose with grace, with clarity, and with the full knowing of who I am to become the architect of my next chapter. I am no longer shaped by survival. I am sculpted by soul. I trust the me that is rising. I honor the me that protected. And I now choose with grace, with clarity, and with the full knowing of who I am to become the architect of my next chapter. And here are some follow-up questions to reflect on and take you through your day. What part of your identity are you ready to release? Not in rejection, but in reverence. I'll give you a moment. What frequency are you ready to lead with now? Is it grace, power, stillness, truth? What comes to you? And lastly, what does it feel like in your body when you say the words, I am sovereign? I am sovereign. I am sovereign. Let your answers find you in dreams, in breath, in the way your shoulders settle a little deeper into belonging. If this episode spoke to your soul, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Not only does this support the podcast, it lets me know how I can continue to be of service as we walk this healing path together, as well as spreading the love and healing further. Your presence, your listening, your evolution, they ripple out farther than you know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for becoming who you are. Until next time, keep speaking the truth of your soul. It remembers. Namaste and many blessings on your way. If you are looking for more ways to connect, please check out the Hermetically Speaking YouTube channel and website. Stay tuned for the guided meditation, Returning to the Temple of the Soul. It's coming up next and will be released on its own on Friday. Welcome to Hermetically Speaking. As you enter this space, allow your breath to soften, your mind to quiet, and your energy to align. This moment is a gateway. What you receive here is encoded, intentional, and meant for your evolution. Let the transmission begin. Welcome, beloved soul. This is a moment for you, a return to your center, a journey to the place within where your sovereign self has never been lost, only waiting. If it is safe and comfortable to do so, please close your eyes and begin to bring awareness to your breath. Inhale softly through the nose. Exhale fully through the mouth. Let go. Again, inhale into your body, into the place where you feel held, and exhale into the earth beneath you, the space that supports your becoming. Allow your shoulders to drop. Unclench the jaw. Soften the thoughts. Let your awareness melt into your breath. Now, begin to imagine you are walking toward a sacred temple. This temple is not outside of you. It is you. Every brick, every line, every glyph on its walls, crafted by your soul's journey through shadow, grief, love, and rebirth. You are the architect. You are the design. You are the light glowing within its walls. As you step inside, you feel a deep sense of remembrance. You've been here before, in dreams, in moments of silence, in the space between identities. This temple holds no projections, no masks, no obligations, only you. Find a place to sit within it. Feel the steadiness of the ground beneath you. And now, place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Ask silently or aloud, what part of my identity am I ready to release in reverence? Pause, breathe, feel what arises. A word, a memory, a sensation. Just notice. Now, ask, what frequency am I ready to lead with now? Let the answer arrive, not from thought, but from soul. Is it grace, truth, softness, or maybe certainty? Now, ask, what does it feel like in my body when I say, I am sovereign. I am sovereign. I am sovereign. Speak those words to yourself. Let that vibration land. Let your shoulders feel it. Let your heart hold it. Visualize your temple glowing brighter and brighter, filled with your very own essence, your very own truth, and your very own voice. This is your return. This is your rebuild. This is your remembrance. Take a final deep breath. Seal this energy into your body, your mind, and your next steps. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes, bringing with you the pieces you've reclaimed and the ones that are still becoming. You are sacred. You are sovereign. You are whole. Your activation is complete. Trust what continues to unfold. Carry the codes you've received into your breath, your being, and your becoming. If this transmission served you well, please like and subscribe to this channel and video so others may find their way to this space, and together we rise in remembrance. For an easy return to this meditation, feel free to save it to your favorite folder. Until next time, may your path be lit by inner truth and your steps guided by Source. This is Hermetically Speaking. Namaste, and many blessings on your way.